walking shoes on. Yep. They say there is nowhere to park anywhere near the Minnesota Monument. Plus, 2 of my guide colleagues just took 2 buses from Minnesota, and they said they had to just drive by it. They said there's around 15,000 people on Little Round Top at any one time. Wow. We won't even get near it, or we might get views of it from a distance. I'm kind of afraid to attempt it to get boxed in, but we're gonna have a great time anyways. So none of these problems. So you know what? We're gonna do whatever we can do, right? So, yeah, maybe. Anyways, we're from Minnesota. We'll kick them out. We charged them off the field once. We can do it again. All right. So anyways, so now you got that information. So we're off and we're going about. I promise you at some point that I'm going to do the tour in chronological order. First day, second day, third day, but I'm not going to do that yet. So I think we're going to start maybe with the third day first, right? And we're going to take it over to Culp's Hill, and we're going to maybe spend an hour there. I wrote a book on it, and I love it over there, and maybe it won't be so crowded, and you know, we'll have a good time. All right. Okay, first a couple of logistics. When we're going to go forward, anyone that wants to march, you know, the charge of the 1st Minnesota, we're going to follow these colors. So follow those colors, you know, do about facing, go that way. People who don't want to go all the way, Wayne Jorgensen, Wayne, wave your hat. He's going to stop at the fence, because if you go beyond the fence, the terrain gets a little bit rougher. So just a brief thing about this charge. Everything was chaos. Smoke covered the field. Right at this time, 150 years ago, there had been a mile-long gap in the Union line. It looked like the nation was sunk. It was over. The Union Army couldn't hold, but General Hancock, as the Superb, was going up and down the line grabbing reinforcements. He grabbed a brigade of New Yorkers and sent them down there by the Troza Farm, the brick barn in your rear. And it seemed like it had plugged the gap. I'll tell you how confusing it was. Hancock had one aide left, Captain William Miller, and we can see or imagine General Hancock and Captain Miller riding out that way in the fields. There was so much smoke. Hancock looked to his left and he saw troops coming this way. He thought they were Union troops, part of Humphreys' division, a Sickles Corps, and he thought they looked a little disorganized. Let me go out there and rally him. So he rode towards the smoke. They were both on horseback, and Captain Miller was wounded twice. So Hancock figured they weren't his men. So he rode over this way, got to plug the gap. You know, you read in all these history books about the heroisms and the Battle of Gettysburg and all this stuff, but it's really no hype with the 1st Minnesota. I firmly believe that the Battle of Gettysburg was on the line, and so was the nation, if these guys didn't do their duty. So Hancock rode up this way in this area. He saw a group of men, bayonets fixed, already in line, helping to support a battery. And he knew that he had to sacrifice them to buy 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's all he needed, because he knew more reinforcements were coming. Yeah, he said, you know, he hated doing it, but it had to be done. So he rode up this way, and he yelled out, "My God, is this all the men we have? What regiment is this?"
"The 1st Minnesota, General."
"Colonel, charge and take those colors."
"To the last man."
"Go!"
Okay, here with John Cox. John, what inspired you to be a battlefield guide?
Gettysburg. If you want to do Civil War, Gettysburg is the place to be.
When was your first time in Gettysburg?
First time in Gettysburg? As a little tot. Can't even remember. My dad and my mom and my brothers and sisters came here as a little boy. I'm in love with it ever since.
So how hard was the testing to become a battlefield guide?
Very difficult. Don't do it unless you really want to become a guide. Don't do it to just take the test. That's not the right reasons. Make sure you want to be a guide if you want to do it. It's very difficult.
When did you take the test?
I took the test in 1999.
Okay, and did you pass on your first attempt, or did you have to?
Yes, I passed on my first attempt. On the written part, I missed 2 questions. And did very well on the essays, and I took it in December, and I was a guide by April.
Wow. So when you are...
No question I wasn't going to pass.
So when you become a guide, exactly what is it that you do?
You take the standard guide tours, you do a 2-hour tour. Usually they're 2 hours. People can request more time. You can do it in a passenger vehicle, the person's own personal car. The guide will drive. Those are normal car tours. You can do bus tours like I've been doing for the Minnesota Task Force, where you have groups of 30 to 50 people. The Minnesota Task Force requests more time. We did 4 hours and then some, and it was a great time. That's normally what a guide will do. A guide can do tours from any kind of spectrum. I did 3 days with the 82nd Airborne at 8 hours a day, 8 hours for each day of the battlefields. But most people only want 2 hours at a very high level.
When you were a guide, how many tours approximately did you give a week?
I'll give a week. Well, there's guys that do a lot more tours than I do, but I averaged around 200 to 250 tours a year, whatever that works out to for a week. About, I was 2 tours a day for 5 or 6 days a week. Occasionally I did 3 to 5 tours in a day. Didn't like 5 tours a day days.
So then, right now we happen to be here during the anniversary. Really, really busy, a lot of people, a lot of traffic. But what are the off-peak seasons like? What is it like when you're out here in, say, October or September or even January or February?
Well, October is one of the best times to come. And October is actually a very busy season. But it's cooler temperatures, the leaves are changing. Not quite as busy as, say, May. I would say May, with the school children that are here with the school buses, they dominate the season. June's pretty busy too. Of course, anniversaries. A great time to come to Gettysburg too is, it's December. They don't have nearly as much snow as Minnesotans. You might get here on a December, January day with no snow. Very few people. Guides love doing tours then because they're not getting much business. Maybe you could get a guide, for a little longer, and they'd really like that. I always think it's better to come in like a December, January, because you actually can see more of the battlefield because of the foliage of the trees. Right now, certain things you just can't see because the foliage.
When did you stop becoming a guide? When did you move back to Minnesota?
I moved back to Minnesota in 2009 because I wanted to, continue my writing career, and I have my new book out.
And what's the name of that?
Gettysburg: A History for the People, which covers the entire Gettysburg campaign. A lot of people say my writing is a lot like I speak, and it's a lot like my tours, so there's a lot of human interest, but it's also, we study the strategies and whatnot. And, my wife's a Minnesotan. Her dad he's passed now, became very ill, and she wanted to go back to Minnesota, and, I had a chance to write the book, so, we did it.
So how can people get your book?
People can get my book, through Amazon.com or through me. Is everybody in here? Yep. All right. Here's the speaker's platform. We've had many, many dignitaries, presidents, Supreme Court justices, other notables do speeches from here. Usually November 19th, Remembrance Day, when Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. We'll have a famous speaker here. So a lot of dignitaries. Anyways, over here on the right is the Lincoln speech memorial. He did not give the Gettysburg Address there. I'll show you probably the exact spot. Probably. Where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. All right, we're moving on.
How often do you get back to Gettysburg?
Not too much. I try to come back once a year. I think now with the book, I'm probably going to be coming back at least twice a year now.
And when you were a guide, did you live in Gettysburg or did you live in one of the outlying communities?
Barb and I, we lived a few years in Littlestown, Pennsylvania, which is 5 miles south of here. And then we moved to a little bigger town about 30 miles south, Frederick, Maryland. Frederick being very important to the Gettysburg campaigns, where Meade takes command of the Army of the Potomac.
And then, how were you excited when you were notified by the task force?
I'll go to tears. Absolutely honored to take Minnesota people out to remember the charge of the 1st Minnesota. Honored. Sorry.
That's all right. Anything you want to add?
You know, I love guiding, and I'm still going to continue to guide. And I, because of my experience as a guide and everything, I still have an opportunity to do guided tours. I think I'm going to start taking some of the Minnesota roundtables. I'm looking at possibly coming back with Minnesota roundtables in October of 2014, and going around the battlefield. And you know, and I might continue to do that. And like, you know, I can have a special license to do that. So I'm never really I'll never really stop guiding. I'm just not doing it as much as I did. And you know, Gettysburg is, you know, it's a very special place. It's part of me. I can't get away from it, even if I wanted to.
And then I guess my last question, since it's been a while since you've been here, I'm sure you ran into some other guides that you used to work with.
A lot of friends. Got a lot of great friends here at Gettysburg.
How did it feel to see them again?
It's great. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you.